Hey everyone, I have an amazingly special guest with us today, Rizel from GitHub. Rizel, welcome.
Hey, April, I'm happy to be here. What's going on?
Not much. We're just hanging out at Microsoft Ignite and you're here to talk about something really, really cool. So before we get started, can you tell everyone what it is you do?
Yeah, so I'm a developer advocate at GitHub, and our team is a bit smaller than Microsoft, so we don't specifically have specialties, but I like to blog, do talks, and do Twitch streams about things like GitHub Actions, GitHub CoPilot, GitHub Code Spaces, and then I'm really into Jamstack and like other backend things. I consider myself full stack, even though that's not really a thing, but yeah, that's essentially what I do.
Awesome. Well, I want to touch on all the amazing things you do, but today we're going to talk about GitHub Copilot. And I love, love, love GitHub Copilot. So what is GitHub Copilot for those out there that actually haven't seen it or used it yet?
Yeah, so the way we're describing it is an AI peer programmer that helps you code faster with less work. And what it essentially does is it's gaining context from different comments or some like lines of code that you're writing, and it suggests whole functions or whole lines of code for you as you type. And if I like to describe it or like compare it similar to like the smart compose feature in Gmail. So if
Mhm.
people have ever been like typing an email and it starts auto completing for them, it's essentially the same user experience but for code.
Awesome.
Mm.
I think you could show us some cool coding with Copilot today, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Let me
All
go
right, let's go. Let's
ahead.
go.
Let's see. I have about like maybe 3 demos that I want to do. So let's see if it goes well. But the first one I'm gonna do is just show that GitHub Copilot can create a dictionary that has like 2-letter ISO country codes in it. So I'm gonna go
Mhm.
ahead and write a comment that says that 2-letter, or I'm gonna say dictionary with 2-letter ISO country code, and it's already trying to complete my comment. If I do country equals, it should start giving me, there we go. It already starts giving me like a couple of, tried to tab it, of country codes and their actual country name, and it'll keep going until like forever.
Mhm.
Also, what I want to show is that GitHub Copilot's really good with like regex and different syntax and stuff like that. And for me, regex is something I'm never, ever, ever going to memorize. Just like being honest, I usually like
Yeah.
go ahead and
Yeah.
Google it. So instead, you can use Copilot for this.
Mhm.
And what I'm going to do is say, like, let's say I wanted to validate a phone number with regex. I can go ahead and it already writes that for me. Bam. Oop, I messed up a little bit. Phone. And we can double check if this actually works if I go ahead and console log it, because maybe you don't trust an AI. I do, but
Mhm.
let's save. And then if I go node index.js, oop, it is false because that's not actually a phone number. And then if I do something like maybe this, let's see what happens. It gives us true. The last thing I want to show
Mhm.
is I was able to send a tweet with Copilot once. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this, and I'm just going to essentially write a few comments and have it send a tweet for me.
Awesome.
So yeah, this is my favorite demo. So I'm going to first import this library called Tweepy that basically interacts with the Twitter API. So already it does that for me, and it already knows that I want to import a config file. And the config file is what I use that's holding like my API keys and all of that. And keep in mind, I don't actually know Python, so I'm able to like write in a different programming language even though I don't know it. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go ahead and actually import the config file, and then now it knows that I want to like connect with the client. It already started writing the comment for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Oop, I keep missing the tabs. Do that, that, that. And I know that like Python cares about like formatting and tabbing. So I'm just going to fix that a little bit for myself. And the last thing I want to do, or the last couple of things, I do want to create a tweet with what I want to say in the text. So maybe I can say that says, I wrote this tweet with Copilot, Python too. That's true. And I'm at Microsoft Ignite. And once I go to the next line, I'm expecting it to write it for me. So it already created that variable. And then I want to actually send a tweet. So let's see what happens there again. And I want to print the response to make sure it works. And I'll save that. I want to make sure I actually have the Tweepy library here. So I'm just going to do pip3 install Tweepy, and then I'll run it. And we can check out my Twitter account to see if it works. Fingers crossed. Python 3 send tweet. Fingers crossed that the demo gods are with me. Please send this. Cool. The tweet is sent. And if I go to my account and refresh it, see what I got here.
Get your tweet back.
Yeah, there it is. So I wrote this tweet with Copilot, and I'm in Microsoft Ignite right now. One last thing I want to show, it's not going to be long at all, is that I was able to actually do this same thing in Spanish. And I have a video of me trying this out with my friend on a Twitch stream of us essentially sending a tweet with Copilot in Spanish. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. I want to like prompt it to write to create a variable that like says this, but in Spanish. I don't know.
Okay.
And let me stop highlighting it so people can see.
Sure. So, variable con el texto del tweet. Let's see what we got. Here we go.
It says, hi.
It even says
writing a tweet using Python or something. Is that what it says?
Yes. It says, hello, I am a tweet sent from Python. All generated. This is bonkers. I can't believe this works. So that's it. That's the end of my demos. I'll get
That's awesome. But you've covered off so many amazing use cases for Copilot that I kind of want to go over. So the first one we had just writing code, right? And you're like, yeah, I don't write Python, but you're writing Python. So when we're learning a language or we know a language, but we talk about like best practice in that language, what is best practice or what is good code? And Copilot's helping us to write that better code no matter what. Now, you need some knowledge of what you're doing because you tabbed over a few times, like you kind of need to know a little bit, but it definitely helps you write better code. The other thing you kind of did also before you went into languages, I work with people across the globe and English is their second language. And I am always amazed at how well they speak English and they're writing code in English. But even here in the UK where we speak English, I was on a project and a guy on my project spent hours, like I think into like a day, finding an issue in our code. And he used a British S where Americanized and Canadians will use a Z or Z. So like he lost hours to his own language. And like, you know, for people that English is a second language and where you were able to write Spanish and obviously Spanish isn't your first language. That's awesome.
I know, it is so cool. And I agree, like code is so American English centric, even like CSS properties. I know y'all spell color with a U, but that's not the way in CSS. So yeah, it is. And I'm just like, code is so hard already to remember, like the syntax and stuff like that. Like Copilot just speeds up that process.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing as well, like when I was growing up and going to school, if you couldn't follow along and write code, there's a very prescriptive way to do it that they were teaching us. But people that have that are, you know, we talk about people with neurodiverse issues, and everyone has neurodiverse requirements, and we don't always realize them. We just thought, you know, or we're a little different, or we've had coping mechanisms. But Copilot is amazing at helping people with neurodiversity, and it brings everyone to that level playing field, and I love that.
Me too. And like, I might not be neurodiverse or whatever, but I do get like really anxious when I'm like pair programming with people and I get focused on the syntax. When I have Copilot on, I'm like, I can focus on the logic and like just keep typing. So they're not like, this girl does not know what she's doing when I'm figuring things.
But anxiety is a neurodiverse topic that we talk about, the anxiety piece, and people have anxiety for different reasons. And even people watching you type or just the situation, time of day, that's a neurodiversity requirement. So that's awesome. Rizel, that's awesome. I'm so happy you've showed us Copilot today and some great demos. And it was great to have you on for Ignite.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always happy to talk about Copilot.
I think Titan wants to say hello to you.
Hey, Titan, come on up here.
Let's see if we can bring Titan into the show. Thank you, Rizel, for joining us from Microsoft Ignite. Titan also wants to thank you because he's going to go try out some GitHub CoPilot now as well.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone, and enjoy the rest of Microsoft Ignite 2022.